أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله، بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الله به الغمة وجاهد في سبيل ربه حتى أتاه اليقين. فاللهم ارضه عنا وعن والدينا وعن الإسلام والمسلمين خير ما جازيت به نبيا عن قومه ورسولا عن أمته. اللهم احينا على سنته وتوفنا على ملته وأورثنا حوضه واسقنا من يده الشريفة شربة هنيئة لا نظمأ بعدها أبدا. ثم أما بعد, we'll continue inshallah our discussion on the effect of the tongue and how many people misuse their tongue and how people accumulate so many sins because of their misuse of their tongue. Something that we really have to be aware of. And Imam Ghazali, before he talked about every one of these effects, he talked about the virtue of remaining silent. And he quoted a number of hadith. One of them is what the Prophet ﷺ said, "Man kana yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir falyaqul khayran aw liyasmut." He who believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the hereafter, then he should say what's good or remain silent. Imam al-Hasan al-Basri says that in qalb al-mu'mini, the heart of the believer, or the heart of the believer is behind his tongue. So before he speaks, he thinks about his words. But the munafiq, or those who do not care, they just speak anything they want to say, they just say it. No filters before their tongues. And as a result, as I said, we commit so many sins without knowing about it. So if we come at the end of the day before we sleep and think about the mistakes we have done today, we may remember that we maybe got angry at someone, or we missed our prayer, or lied to someone. Well, there are so many other mistakes that we do with our tongue, but we don't even pay any attention to it. We don't know. There are some sins we know, but some other sins that we don't really know. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the sins that we know about and the sins that we don't even know about. Sometimes we remember a sin we did 20 years ago. We remember it very well, because we feel the regret and we feel ashamed of doing it. But sometimes when we speak in social gathering, we keep speaking and speaking and speaking, and we don't even know that we have done something wrong. How many people who have wronged? How many people have mentioned in their absence? How many times we backbite others? How many times we take the word of someone and give it to the other with the intention of creating animosity between them? How many times we exaggerate it in our tone? How many times we lie? How many times we overpraise ourselves when we talk? How many times we talk to show off? How many times we talked about our good deeds, which we're not supposed to, out of pride? How many times we curse someone or shout at someone? How many times we made an oath and on something that is not accurate? Hey, wallahi. So people do this, we do this all the time, and that's why Imam Ghazali said that we must, the believers must pay attention to what they say. And he quoted also the hadith of Mu'adh radiallahu anhu, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, "Amsik alayka hada," hold this, control this. He said, "Ya Rasulullah, are we going to be held accountable for what we say?" And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Thakilatka ummuka ya Mu'adh, wa hal yakubbu an-nasa fi an-nari ala wujuhihim illa hasaidu alsinatihim?" Is there anything that casts people in the hellfire other than their tongue? It's easy to speak, but difficult to control. Letting our tongue go on and on and on, that's easy. What's more difficult is to control it. So Imam Ghazali mentioned this long introduction, talking about the virtue of being silent, or don't speak unless there is a need, and try to think before you speak, and so on. Then he will talk now about every one of these mistakes that we do with our tongue. The first one is al-kalamu fima la yu'nik. He said, people always have the tendency to talk about things that does not really concern them, which sometimes causes burden on, or place burden on others. And this is something I wish we all stay away from, because it bothers. We talk about things that's not of our concern. And Luqman al-Hakim, when he was asked about his hikmah, where you get this hikmah from, he said, I don't really care or ask about things that does not concern me. And in the hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Min husn Islam al-mar tarkuhu ma la yani." Part of the perfection of one's iman or Islam is that he leaves that which does not concern him. Don't talk about لا تسألوا عن أشياء إن تبد لكم تسؤون. Don't ask about people's affairs and life and talk about things that's not of our business. Don't stick your nose in people's life. You don't have to know everything about everybody. I must respect the privacy of others. Right? So, he said, even though when we talk about things that does not concern us, sometimes not a sin, we don't commit a sin, but we are losing our time. We could have done something more. Could have done dhikr or tasbih or ibadah, instead of talking about things that's not of our business and will never help us in any way. In the hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, hadith sahih, أمرني ربي أن يكون نطقي ذكرى وصمتي فكرة ونظري عبرة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered me that my speech should be dhikr, saying subhanallah, alhamdulillah, or teaching people, or tafsir, or something that's useful. وصمتي فكرة, my silence is a time of reflection. Now, wise people don't speak so much, but they think so much. They always think about the meaning of things. What is the meaning of this? Why this happens? What is the wisdom behind it? So when you speak, your speech should be dhikr, and you remain silent. Our silence should be fikr. وَنَظَرِ عِبْرَةً. When I look at things, then I get a lesson out of this. And this hadith, in fact, also kind of scary when Ka'b radiallahu anhu was not feeling well, and the Prophet asked about him, and we told him that he's sick, and he went to visit him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and she said, the Prophet ﷺ said salam to them and made dua for him, and then his mother said, "Abshir ya Ka'b, hani'an laka al-jannah." Hani'an laka al-jannah. Have a good news. Congratulations that Jannah is given to you. And the Prophet ﷺ said, who is this is making judgment out of no knowledge? How do you know? He told her, how do you know? Maybe he said something or talked about things that does not really concern him, and withheld something that does not affect him. In other words, he could have spent it. So speaking about or talking about things that does not really concern us could be very problematic. And this happens all the time. When we ask people, someone who came from a trip, we welcome people with tons of questions, right? People who came from Umrah, what company you went with? Okay, what hotels you were in? Okay, so what did you do in this? What did you do in that? Okay, how about this? So why ask all these questions? Say, mashallah, welcome back, may Allah accept from you, and that's it. You don't have to put him in such long exam. You are not the only one. If everybody sees him or her coming back asking this list of questions, then it's better not to make Umrah, because he will be asked tons of questions. When a divorce happened, when someone divorced his wife, the Prophet ﷺ said, don't ask why he divorced his wife. What went wrong? Okay, what's happened? Whose fault is this? Okay, and people like to talk about these things. They enjoy talking about this. And everybody has his own version of the story, of course, totally different from the other narrative. And this goes in the community and it presses them hard. And everybody wants, of course, to show that it's not my fault, it's his fault or her fault. So everybody has to take negatively about the other. Right? No one should ask these questions. I know that these are real things. These are real things that we should not really enjoy talking about. Ask about it. What happened? Right? And people are sick. Everybody wants to know exactly what kind of sickness, who is their doctor, what kind of medicine they take. Ya akhi, why this? Make dua for him, khalas. Many people don't like to share these things with others. Right? Keep pressing people. What's going on? What happened? Why didn't you come? What's going on? And people keep asking, and they, some volunteer giving answers, and these wrong answers spreads, and for no reason. Wise people don't waste their time talking about things that does not really concern them. You don't like anybody to investigate what you do in your life, in your private life. So don't do the same thing to others. Unfortunately, our culture now is based on this. You watch the news or read newspapers, or magazines are made to cover the celebrities' life and what they eat, what they drink, what they do, and the relationship and the divorce and children and relationships and scandals, all these, and people enjoy talking about what the royal family ate today. What do you care about the royal family? What they eat, what they dress, what's the big deal about this? Right? And all these celebrities and superstars and athletes and politicians and people, they have nothing to do in their lives. So keep writing news. People go and buy these magazines and read about every details about all these people. So, and this tells you that people have nothing to do in their life. They don't know how to use their time wisely. So that's why they keep spending their time knowing about the life of others, how many cars they have, and how big is their home, and how much money they make, all these things. So من حسن إسلام المرء تركه ما لا يعنيه. Imam Ghazali also gives an example of how you may put someone in difficulty when you ask them unnecessary questions. Like asking someone, are you fasting today? It's Muharram, it is Ashura, it is first 10 days of the Hijjah. Are you fasting today? What do you expect? If he said yes, then it's something that should be hidden. Fasting is a personal thing between Allah and the person. And if he said no, then he lies. Right? So why ask him? Or someone, where are you coming from? So why are you asking where are you coming from? Maybe he doesn't want to let you know. He doesn't want you to know that. So he either lie to you or embarrass you. Say that's not your business, and that will be, that's not nice. And then you'll get angry if he told you that's not your business. How come you say that's not my business? And that's rude and things. That's rude for you to ask. Okay, and the hikmah says that من سأل عما لا يعنيه لقي ما لا يرضيه. من سأل عَمَّ لَا يَعْنِي لَقِيَ مَا لَا يُرْضِي. If you ask about things that's not of your business, then what you receive is not very pleasant. You receive something that makes you upset or sad. If someone asks you a question you don't want to answer, you say, like, brother, that's not of your business. How would you feel? Right? So respecting the privacy of people is important, and there's no need for us to keep talking about things that does not really, things that do not concern us. Imam Ghazali talked about the ilaj, or the remedy of this habit, bad habit, that we ask or talk about things that does not really concern us. And he said that al-ilm wal-amal, there are two ways to treat this. One, some specific knowledge, and actions. The knowledge is that you know that death is ahead of you, is coming closer to you, and you are responsible for every word you say. If you know this, then this will help you stay away from talking about things that really concern you. And he said that your tongue, think about your tongue like a net that you can use to collect as many reward as possible. So use it wisely. There are palaces in paradise, and trees and palm trees will be built for you by some adhkar, some dhikr. You say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. It's one of the treasures of Jannah. So why leaving these treasures and wasting your time talking about nonsense? This is the knowledge, and the amal, the thing that really will help you not to talk about things that does not really concern you, is al-uzla. Al-uzla is a term used in books of Sufi people, and they mean by this that you don't want to spend so much time with people. This does not mean that you totally isolate yourself from society. Right? But don't waste so much time with people, because once you put yourself in unnecessary gatherings, then you'll have to say something. And if half of what you say unnecessary, then they're losing your time. Most of the time, when we don't ask, the news will come to us anyways. As Tarafa ibn al-Abd said in his very famous Mu'allaqa, ستبدي لك الأيام ما كنت جاهلا ويأتيك بالأخبار من لم تزودي. And the Prophet ﷺ liked this verse very much. Taraf ibn Abd died before Islam at the age of 19 or 20 years old, and he left a huge amount of beautiful poetry. ستبدي لك الأيام, time will bring information to you. Okay? Everybody wants to know, the election day, for example. Everybody wants an account and things. People spend, time. Do you want to know who's going to win? If you go on and sleep, you wake up in the morning, you will get to know. So easy, right? It will come to you. If it did not come, so what? But most of the time, things will come to you. You will get to know it without asking about it, right? وَيَأْتِيكَ بِالْأَخْبَارِ مَنْ لَمْ تُزَوِّدِي. Then they used to send people, they pay someone to go to this city and see what's going on and come back. So he will go, you hire someone to go to this far place to know what's going on and come back. So he said that the news will come to you anyway. So, and sometimes you ask about something and then you wish you didn't ask. You wish you didn't, because the answer will come and to hurt you. So it's better not to ask about things that do not concern you. The second problem or effect of our tongue is that al-fudul al-kalam. Fudul al-kalam means that we talk so much, even if we talk about something could be important. But instead of saying 10 words to make the point, we make 1,500 words. Yeah, that's enough. And then some people like to talk and talk and talk and talk. Sometimes you receive a phone call or make a phone call. to ask about something and to get the answer or to agree on an appointment or something, and then the phone call goes for half an hour. I got it. Just tell me what you want exactly. I'll get it. Jazakallah khair, alhamdulillah, done. You don't have to waste a lot of time to tell me about something in 10 words. Why are you speaking so much? That's called fudul. Fudul kalam means extra talk. Extra talk, it's not really good. A group of people came to the Prophet ﷺ, Bani Amir. They came to Rasulullah ﷺ, and one of them talked on behalf of them, and he kept talking about the Prophet, praising him. Anta waliduna wa anta sayyiduna wa anta afdaluna. You are the best of us. You are our leader. You are our master. And kept talking. The Prophet ﷺ said, قولوا قولكم ولا يستهوينكم الشيطان. Say what you want to say, but don't, prolong your talk. You don't have to say all these long khutbah praising the Prophet ﷺ before you make your presentation. They came for a reason. Just come and say Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam, Jazakallah khair, and then end this to the point. Don't talk too much. Make your point clear, and that's part of the fasaha, or al-balagha, which is defined as مراعاة الكلام لمقتضى الحال مع فصاحته. هذه البلاغة. To say or to say choose the right words, the right time, and make it short. Right? Make it short, to the point, and be as eloquent as possible. That will be it. خير الكلام ما قل ودل. The best of talk, that's the best of speech, is the one that is short and meaningful. Okay? And that's also true. Sometimes you listen to a 45 minutes khutbahs, and very long, and then you don't really know what the subject. You cannot remember everything that's been said. And Rasulullah sallallahu khutbah used to be short, but best of words. All meanings in few words. And he mentioned this story. I don't know. Imam Ghazali mentioned stories that it's not necessarily hadith. He said ruya. Ruya means has been said, maybe from the Israeliyat, that he sent one of the jinn to do something for him. You know that Sulaiman alayhi salam uses jinn, has authority and power to. So he sent one of his jinn to do something, and then he sent number of other jinn to see what he's doing, to watch him and see what he's doing. So they told him that we saw him, he walked by the market and he looked up in the sky, and then he kept looking at people, and then he kept moving his head. So when he came back, Sulaiman asked him, why did you do that when you went to the market? And he said, I was really wondering that the angels are on the top of the heads of the people writing down what they do, and the people talking and talking and talking and talking don't really pay attention to the fact that someone is writing what they say. That was really amazing, he said. If you know that someone is writing every word you say, like in the court, when you go in the court as a witness or defendant, then every word counts, right? You have to be clear. You have to count your words, and your lawyer will tell you, this is what you need to say, don't talk about this, and so on. So every word counts. So you speak, and someone's writing, and the judge is listening, and everybody is listening. You can say a word that can really put you in trouble. One day, one of these people who liked to talk and talk came to the Prophet ﷺ, and he kept talking and talking and talking, and said, the Prophet ﷺ said, how many barriers you have in front of your tongue? Come do that inside of hijab. Why you're talking so much? How many barriers you have? He said, I have my teeth and my lips. So So the Prophet ﷺ said, why didn't these two barriers did not stop you from talking so much? Right? It's not nice. And to disrespect the time of people. And sometimes people come and ask questions, okay, and they keep talking and say, what is the question? I'm sorry, what is the question? What's the question? How can I help? I don't understand. I don't have to tell me a story, long story, and then I found no question. Right? So, one of the wise people said, إذا كان الرجل في مجلس فأعجبه الحديث فليسكت وإن كان ساكتا فأعجبه السكوت فليتكلم. He said that if you are in a meeting and you enjoy talking, it's better to remain silent. And if you enjoy remaining silent because you don't want to be in trouble, you know something but you don't want to say it, then this is the time for you to speak. Right? Another narration, someone asked a wise man, when should I speak? He said, when you enjoy remaining silent. And when should I remain silent? He said, when you enjoy speaking. That's why it's difficult for scholars or khatibs or people who give khutbahs. It's more difficult to remain silent. Because they got used to speak and people listen. And it's difficult to, expect this to happen, to be the case all the time. When scholars desire to speak more than listening, this is problematic. Abu Darda radiallahu anhu saw a woman, Salita in Arabic means that she really used her tongue to hurt people. And that's why people don't want to get close from her or have any interaction with her. Salita to lisan. And he said, if she was dumb, that would have been better for her. It would have been much better for her. So how many blessings we have and we misuse them. Alhamdulillah, it's a great blessing to be able to speak. Rahmanu allama al-Quran, khalaqa al-insan, allamahu al-bayan. Great blessing that we are able to communicate and learn language and read and write and so on. But at the same time, we have to use this blessing very wisely. Otherwise, it will be against us. I will stop here, inshallah, and we'll continue next week, inshallah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Comments or questions?
I have a question. You said when somebody asked you a question about the Nafil song, so if we say no, it's a lie. Is it considered a lie, or we can?
If you say no,
like
of course.
If I am, for example, fasting and,
No.
and then still say no, is it considered a lie?
If he asks you, are you fasting? A lie is a lie. Yeah, it's a lie. Yeah. No, we should not lie. Right? If you said yes, alhamdulillah, without having the intention to show off, then Allah knows your intention. But you don't lie. Because fasting, in this case, is nafl, and lie is haram. So you don't want to protect the nafl by doing haram. Right? Or you can say, do I have to answer this question? That's a good way to let them know that I'm not really interested in this. Do I have to answer this question? So, you don't have to. You don't have to.
But in this society, if you are not speaking too much, they don't like it.
Well, that's wisdom. Yeah, people don't like wisdom, so what can we do? The Prophet ﷺ said, "Man sakata naja." You remain silent, you'll be safe. Of course, at some time you have to speak. I'm not saying that you go to a meeting. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum assalam, how are you, alhamdulillah, and things like this. And then you keep listening. Keep listening. If someone asks you a question, what do you think about this? Say, I tell them, I think you are talking about nonsense and I'm not interested in this. Yes?
So where do we stand about if we see something wrong? You must say something, you must do something.
Right. Right, and this is what he meant when he said that when you desire to remain silent, this is the time to speak. Because sometimes we see something wrong, or we witness something. We saw someone influential or done something wrong. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَا تَكْتُمُوا الشَّهَادَةِ. If you have shahada, then you have to go and speak. If you saw someone abusing someone, and then they went to the court, and they asked this abused person, do you have any witnesses? Was there anyone? Someone said, yes, I was there. And when I'm giving testimony against wealthy and influential people, go on, say it. Enjoining good and forbidding evil is obligatory. The Prophet ﷺ said, change, if you see evil, change it with your hand, if you cannot, then with your tongue. And the best jihad is kalimat haqq, to say the word of the truth. Even to a dictator, a brutal dictator, Sultan Jair. Tell him that you fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are wrong. You have no right to do this. You are abusing people. And you know, he's very brutal, can do anything to you. And then if he killed you, then you are in the highest level of shuhada. سيد الشهداء حمزة ورجل قام إلى حاكم ظالم فأمره ونهاه فقتله. You'll be in the level of Hamza when you speak the word of truth. That's a jihad fi sabilillah. This tongue has been created for a reason. To speak, right? It's like a car. Car is made to run, right? We don't engineer cars to keep in our garage. Cars are made to run. But it must have a brake. If you have a car running without a brake, then damage will happen. This is exactly what it is. Tongue has been created to speak, right? But you must have a brake. You don't want to please people by displeasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because these people are not going to help you. You will be held accountable for what you say, and not what people like or people dislike. They're not going to help. Nobody will help anybody. So if you stay in the meeting and remain silent because there's nothing to say, or you don't know about the subject, or you want to learn. I remember one of the meetings, friends, some of them are younger and some are the same age, and we were talking, and when I went to Egypt, I don't really know, and I want to learn, and they're talking, and I'm learning so much. I don't know, and I enjoy listening because I don't know, and everybody gives his input, and I enjoy listening to people. It's always good to train ourselves, not to listen more, not to speak more than we listen. And as they said, that's why we have 2 ears and 1 tongue, right? 2 ears to remind us it's better to listen more than speaking. What we do with our 1 tongue can beat 100 ears.
What if somebody asks a question to get information, their experience, if they had, for example, if they had gone to Umrah, and if somebody else is going later on and they want to know.
Yeah, taking advice in any matter is good. If you know someone has done Hajj and then say, okay, so what should I do? You ask to learn. You're not asking to, that concerns you. That you are talking about what concerns you. We're talking about what does not concern you. So what should I do? Where should I pick the pimples? When should I put the ihram? What should I say? You are seeking advice, right? So of course you should do that, and the other person should not, be unhappy with this. He should actually give you guidance. That's a good way actually to use our tongue, to ask good questions. Ask good questions.
So the Kiram and Katibin, they write everything that we say, or there is a classification, they write something and write, do not write something?
In Kiram al-Katibin, ulama have two opinions. One is that they write everything you say, every single word. Because the ayah says, مَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ. Min qawl, anything, whether it is mubah, permissible, or haram, or dhikr, or good or bad, they write every single word. Right? When you talk about the food, or you talk about the cars, or you talk about in your workplace, you are in a meeting, business meeting, and you are talk about technical things. Some ulama said, based on this ayah, everything is written. Other ulama are with the opinion that they write only the things that are either good or bad, that has consequences. So, but all other words are not written because there's no reward or punishment. So either or, both agree that all words that counts will be registered, will be written. So one must be careful all the time. Now,
so you just mentioned about the use of tongue, but in these days with the media, we use a lot of chatting, and in the group environment,
right.
A lot of people really bring their point and offend someone and keep chatting and bringing their points. So it's also fall into that category?
Of course,
right?
Because that's a talk.
Yeah.
You are talking through your eye touch.
Yes.
Right? In Islam or in Ahkam al-Shar'iyya, expressing your intention or your feeling, saying it and writing it are the same. And talaq, for example, if someone wrote an email to his wife, you are divorced. She's divorced, khalas. You know, so whether you say it with your tongue or send it to your Gmail account or Google, you know, is the middleman, but it is. And same thing, marriage. If you say I do, then that's marriage. So
use it wisely.
Huh?
Use it wisely.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to. And this is another point that on social media and texting and groups and so on. Again, everybody wants to show he knows something, he's funny, he's smart, and people keep writing, lying. You know, people accuse others, and so it's just waste of time, waste of trust. People on social media are totally different from who they are really. Everybody wants to show particular aspect of him or her personality. And that's why people have this means of communication, but they are very much disconnected. Are disconnected from people sitting next to you, and you are chatting people in different parts of the world. You are connecting with some, and you are disconnecting from the people you're supposed to connect with. And again, people, this new study actually found out that those who do not have Facebook accounts, or those who have Facebook account, they are more likely to be depressed than those who do not have Facebook account. And people talk about things that do not really concern them. Talking and news, pictures, videos, and waste of time. Sometimes someone will leave you a voice message at 2 minutes. Just to tell you, I want to see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. You know, I want to tell you about something, or when can I see you? Something like this. Like 2 or 3 minutes. Why? Now be specific to the point. Alhamdulillah, respect the time of others. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك. والعصر ان الانسان لفي خسر الا الذين امنوا وعملوا الصالحات تواصوا بالحق تواصوا بالصبر. سبحان ربك رب العزه عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.